saw this ass back there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Blessing's Pink Mic, where we discuss all things pop culture, cinema, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. I still haven't really decided on a name. Maybe Blessing's Mic, B's Mic, Pink Mic. I just don't know yet, but I really would like your opinion on it, whichever one you think sounds a little bit better. Today's new series will cover perfect pilots, and I got this idea from Mike's Mike, who's one of my favorite YouTubers, and I really like the idea because perfect pilots really consist of really good shows that cover really compelling characters, nice storytelling, and just an all-around well-rounded show. So today we're going to be covering Desperate Housewives. And yes, this show came out almost 20 years ago, and yes, I'm still obsessed with it. And what about it? The show's creator, Cherry, was inspired to create the show after watching a news report on Andre Yates, a Texas housewife who drowned her 5 children in a bathtub while suffering from a post-traumatic psychosis. Cherry then asked his mother if she could imagine a woman so desperate that she would hurt her own child, and she replied yes. What? Like, isn't it insane for a show? Even today, critics still don't know how to label this show. They don't know if they should label it a trashy soap opera, mystery, drama, or comedy. However, the pitch for the TV series Desperate Housewives is about a group of housewives living a seemingly perfect neighborhood of Wisteria Lane, which is actually full of secrets, crimes, and domestic struggles. And now I'm going to start from the very beginning of the show. The show first starts with the camera paneling, and we first see a Misfits school bus, rolling down Wisteria Lane, and then it quickly panels to Gabriella, who is running down in one of these cute little tracksuits, which she loves. See, that girl stay in a tracksuit 24/7, looking good. And the narration starts, and we hear from Mary Alice, who begins her very unusual Tuesday. She starts her Tuesday making breakfast for her family, performing her chores, completing household projects, running errands, and picking up her mail. The next scene, however, it shows her going into her hallway closet, pulling out her box, and retrieving a revolver and shooting herself in the head. The first time I saw this, I was absolutely gagged. I saw this with my sister, and I was like, wait a minute. That's just not what I was expecting. Because first, the show has a lot of low color temperature that gives very nostalgic, very vintage feeling. The body will be later found by a curious neighbor, Martha Huber, who came to return her blender from 6 months ago. Isn't that crazy? Is it just me? I don't really talk to my neighbors that much, so it's just absolutely crazy for me to think that one of my neighbors has my blender from 6 months ago. I feel like that's absolutely insane. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe you guys actually talk to your neighbors and you lend them stuff out. I mean, of course I would lend out like some sugar, but a blender? I need my blender. I'm not gonna do it for my smoothie. During the funeral, each housewife brings their own little comfort meal, and we're able to learn a little bit more about the characters. The first one, who is Lynette, she brings over a fried chicken from a local storehouse, and we're basically able to see how she's changed in the past few years. Previously, Lynette used to climb the corporate ladder, and she was obviously very, very good at it. But right now, she's now a new mother, and she's a little bit overwhelmed. That's very, very obvious because the first thing we see her, she's paneling them kids, trying to get them to the wake. She's over here bribing them kids. She's bribing the kids to with Santa's number, saying that if you don't act right, I'm not calling Santa. And it's just absolutely crazy what she has to do just to keep these kids in line, which is kids are such, I don't want to call them assholes, but how crazy that your mom has to literally bribe you for a wake with her dead friend. Like, are you serious? The second housewife that we see is Gabrielle Solis. She brings over a spicy paella. In the first few minutes that we're seeing her and her husband, we can tell that it's a very strained relationship, and both of them have a very big emphasis on material possessions, and it does become their downfall for a really long time, but they do end up becoming one of the most compelling characters in a really good relationship at the very end because they actually do end up falling in love. But in this first stage of their relationship, you can definitely see there is a lot of tension And it's just a really strained relationship that it was very obvious that these two really didn't know each other that well. Gabrielle really just wanted a rich man, and he really just wanted a trophy wife. I think those two liked each other, but I don't think they loved each other until the very end. And it was really nice seeing them both get better. A little parched, give me a second. The third housewife that we see is Brie Vanderkamp. She comes in with two big baskets filled with baked goods, little sweets, of course, that she baked herself. This woman is absolutely iconic, and when I grow up, I want to be Brie Vanderkamp. From the first few moments that we see here, we can tell that she has a very strained relationship with her family because she's coming in full smiles, happy as can be, and her family's back there just looking at her like, not again. Brie Vanderkamp is thought to be a very perfect housewife, but her family thinks otherwise. Susan Meyer is a recent divorcee with a terrible, trifling, cheating ex-husband named Carl. This is a Susan Meyer hate account. Yes, yes. Even to the very end, I cannot stand her. The only reason I kind of liked her a little bit more was her relationship with Mike Delfino. Actually, fuck that. Fuck Mike. I couldn't like Mike either. The only real thing that I liked about her was Susan and Julia. During her parents' divorce, Julia supported her grown-ass mama by paying the bills, cooking, and running the overall household, which cannot be a healthy relationship. Later on in the show, we see Julia making a few mistakes that I feel as though she missed out on making as a child. During the funeral, we get a quick little flashback. The last time when all the housewives were together playing a quick little game of poker, as they usually do. During this time, they were talking about Carl and how much of a cheating bastard he was, and just Susan just went out all of her feelings about the relationship. The relationship finally ended. Now we're back into present day where we're talking about why Mary Alice killed herself and just basically what can be done and how they can help the family move forward in this time of grief. And then in the corner, we see Paul Young, sneaky ass, in the corner, listen to their conversation. Later on, Paul Young does become like the main villain of season one, and I loved it so much because his ass was creepy. Everything, the way that the storyline was building, the different ways that they kept like giving us little hints about the secret that his wife died to protect, and everything that Paul Young did was to protect his family, which made it a lot easier for us to empathize with him as a villain. During the wake, Mike and Susan really have cute meet cute where they're basically talking about how I should basically burn the macaroni, but it was still undercooked. How do you even do that? Like, Julie sees her mom flirting with him and can deduce that her mom likes him. So the next day, she throws something over his fence, just basically a way to get to talk to him and learn a little bit more about him. And she finds out that he's single, his wife is no longer here, and he's a bachelor. Ding ding. Means it's time for Susan to move in. While Susan is the only one that's supposedly unaware that there's a new bachelor, we're finally able to meet the Edie Britt. Yes, everyone clap, everyone clap. Edie Britt is known as the town whore. While I hate to even use that word to simply describe Edie because she's so much more than such a simple stereotype, the writers definitely wanted to make it clear that Edie was different from the other women. This heavily plays into the Madonna whore complex, which is perpetuated by society's need to place women into two categories. Madonna as the woman who's virtuous and pure, whereas the whore who's overly sexual, manipulative, and promiscuous. The writers definitely misused her character by not truly allowing her to form any true, lasting relationship with these women, because they're constantly giving her the housewife's sloppy seconds. We are never truly able to completely understand her motives as a mother, human, and partner. They simply give us little hints, but never truly a good picture. Overall, I truly enjoyed her character and her witty comebacks, but I definitely do think her character overall was misused. There's a separation between the two, and we're basically able to deduce that Edie is meant to be shown as not a housewife, she's somebody different. And at this moment, the women just aren't friends right now. She is in competition with Susan, who is friends with the rest of the other housewives. The following week, the housewives go back to their normal life. During this first episode, we're able to better understand these women's motives and the issues that they are currently facing with their families. During this next week, we see them question their past interactions with Mary Alice to try to figure out her reasoning for unaliving herself. The housewives are also reevaluating their whole lives and any shortcomings that they may have, while also wondering why she did not come to them with her issues, especially because they were all such close friends, while also contemplating their own issues that they have not discussed with the other housewives, all to keep up with appearances. Lynette previously was a hugely successful career woman, known for her power lunches, her eye-catching presentation, and her ruthlessness in wiping out the competition. Lynette gave up her career to assume a new label, the incredibly satisfying role of a full-time mother suggested by her husband. Lynette is portrayed as neurotic, stressed, and a controlling housewife and mother, and is also considered the smart one of the group. Very often, women are told that they can have it all with just a little bit of hard work and a little bit of elbow grease. Lynette later on got addicted to her son's ADD medication, and I like that the writers added this to her storyline. I feel as though that it was very easy for her to slip up and get addicted to these coping mechanisms simply because she was chasing this perfect mom trope and did not have a strong support system. Oftentimes, society and the housewives are judging the other housewives that aren't known for being perfect moms. All of this pressure can cause you to seek medication to cope or to push yourself to become a perfect mom. Now, do not get me wrong, all the housewives are currently struggling within their own household, especially Gabrielle, who's a former top model turned trophy wife. Gabrielle married Carlos Solis, who is a rising CEO, proposed to her after just 3 dates. In 2001, Gabrielle gave up her lavish life in New York City to move to the suburbs of Fairview and adjust to her quieter and more settled lifestyle with Carlos. During their first 3 years of marriage, Carlos was always away on business trips, leaving Gabrielle to become bored, lonely, and unhappy, resulting in her having an affair with her teenage gardener and high school student, John. Ew! Gabrielle even said to the gardener that her reasoning for doing this is to get pleasure out of life, rebel a bit, and fight against the control that her husband put on her so that she does not get the urge to unalive herself. Gabrielle is also known to be very materialistic to a fault and does not often learn from her own mistakes. Susan doesn't have a lot going on for her within this first season, aside from trying to get with Mike and build their relationship while also forgiving herself for the mistake that she made as a mother. Susan is also a hopeless romantic and often expresses herself more openly and vulnerably than the other characters in the series. Her susceptibility to bad luck and embarrassing situations have caused some of the series' most memorable moments, including her burning down Edie's house and being locked up in her own house, completely stark naked. Bree Vanderkamp was Wisteria's Lane, a residential, neurotic, and perfectionist homemaker, whose strong resolve and proper demeanor was both her greatest assets as well as a source of nearly all of her personal troubles. Bree's efforts to maintain her plastic existence quickly collapsed as she dealt with many obstacles in her life, such as family drama, alcoholism, and a nervous breakdown, and also the loss of her business later on in the show. She definitely struggled to show her emotions and can be very stoic. This all can be attributed to her upbringing. Bree's mother, a repressive and uptight housewife, encouraged the use of a mask, which is a face that you wear when you don't want people to know how you're feeling, and taught Bree from a very young age that if she hid her emotions, that she would have power over men. Later on in the first season, Rex is rushed to the hospital, and when Bree visits him, he accuses her of being emotionally unavailable and obsessed with achieving domestic perfection, and also the strange way that her hair never moves. Bree is very upset by his words and retreats to the hospital bathroom, where she breaks down in tears. I could definitely relate to all of these women, especially as a Black woman, because I understand one's need to hold onto a mask, especially in professional settings. Oftentimes, women are taught to hold their emotions and to suppress urges because men or society does not need to see it. I can relate to each woman's struggle to want to be perfect and having to fight against how they are seen. In film, TV, and ads, women are often shown as emotional creatures who need rescuing or soothing. On the flip side, male anger is usually accepted and even celebrated, viewed as a mark of strength and dominance. This has reinforced the belief that women expressing anger is unattractive and frowned upon. I found myself absorbing these messages without even realizing it growing up, pushing my anger down beneath layers of sadness and frustration and denying myself the chance to suppress my own feelings. I've come to understand that my battle with suppressing anger isn't just my own. It's also a very common struggle for women everywhere. From a young age, we are taught to be quiet, agreeable, and polite, staying clear from any drama or fuss. I was not given any space for my emotions or how to properly regulate them, but I now understand that those around me were also never given that chance to grow with their emotions. So, how could they properly teach me how to do the same? Anger is often unlabeled as unfeminine or inappropriate, so we bury it deep, masking it as sadness or frustration. Consequently, our anger goes unheard and we miss out on its important lesson. Today, I want you to break this cycle and encourage all women to embrace their anger. Let's pay attention to what our anger is signaling. Recognize that the boundaries that have been crossed, acknowledge the injustice we've suffered. Our anger is crucial indicator that something is off and it deserves our attention. Now, it may seem silly to some people, but shows like Desperate Housewives or reality shows such as Housewives of Atlanta or Potomac gave me insight to how certain households are ran. One of the coolest things about reality TV shows or any show that is centered around women is how it shines a spotlight on women's stories, like not many other genres can. In this space, we do not just include them, we embrace them. The more complex, quirky, or even contradictory a female reality star is, the more captivating they become. We get to explore narratives beyond just an epic romance or tales of a woman being a victim. We dive into the real, often chaotic lives of these women. Sure, some reality TV shows do throw these women into competition with each other. That is a fact. But we also do get to witness how they handle these tensions, mend their friendships, and lift each other up when it truly counts. Each of these housewives are very complex, very flawed individuals that go through addiction, heartbreak, depression, loss, and we're able to witness all of their growth, which is what makes the show so very impactful, not only for me, but many of its viewers to this day. All right, guys, that's all for today. So yeah, definitely let me know if there's any other shows, any other storylines that you're interested in hearing me talk about. It's one of my favorite videos, and I absolutely love to watch long ass commentaries about other people talking. I just decided I got a mouth, I can talk, so I'm here to talk. Please let me know if there's any other things that you would like to hear about. My socials will be down below. If you'd like to follow me anywhere, please do like and subscribe. By engaging with my video, it lets the algorithm show me on your For You page so that I possibly can reach other people. Thank you so much for being here for me today. I hope you have an absolutely amazing week that is filled with so much love and blessings and success. Bye, guys. See you guys later. Why are you still here?